Sam here. This is my 98 Chevy Astro van, and the door is getting really hard to open, and from the outside most of the time it doesn't open at all. And my kids are having trouble getting in and out of the back here, and that's just extremely unsafe to the point we kind of quit driving this unless we have to. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this panel off, look inside and see if we can fix this door, and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride because I looked at some YouTube videos and I didn't see, I saw maybe one that kind of had some information. So anyhow, I thought I'd go ahead and do this. I used to actually work in an upholstery shop, and part of my auto body business was doing upholstery work too. I have a machine for that. And so I've taken plenty of door panels off, so I have a pretty good idea on how to do it, but I have not taken one of these door panels off before. It looks to me you got 3 screws here at both of these window clips that pop out, 4 in where the actual door handle is, and 2 right here where there would be like probably an ashtray or something was in here. The rest looks like, because I don't see any more screws, and there's a couple of looks like hole covers of some sort, so there might be some screws behind here, but I'll check that out. And you can see where up here, at least right here anyways, I can see where there's something like a little clip or something up in here that I might need to stick a screwdriver in and kind of pry a little bit, but we'll get started. Be real careful with these window clips here. Put this in my, because they are prone to breaking. From my last one, I had to replace these things twice. These ones seem to be a little bit sturdier. My other one was quite a bit older. But they're basically the same thing. All these vans are pretty much the same throughout their entire time they made them here. Now, my paint's not all that great, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to put these out here, kind of get them out of the way. And but if you have good paint, you might want to put some masking tape or something on your paint over here to keep it from wearing it down. And really, if I find any more screws, I'll tell you. Until then, I'm just going to go. Alright, so far we got the screws out that I told you about. Now with the ashtray thing here, be careful with that, because it has these little clips, and they were actually kind of fell down in the corners here, and the ashtray thing just kind of falls out. It doesn't hold in with any clips or anything otherwise than these, and so you want to keep track, or you're going to be digging those out of your door. And then these here, this here, it's like you got to pull the bottom off and kind of lift it straight up so my head's not in your way. Just kind of pop it up over the top. It's pretty tight in here, but it comes off. Just kind of pull up and out, but you got to pull the bottom out first and then just kind of rotate it up like that, and that'll pop right off there. Now, nothing drove me more crazy when I work on cars than when I find 6 different screws in things. It just drives me nuts. None of these screws are actually the same. The screws for this, the screws for this, and the screws for this are all different screws. So keep them separated. Got to keep them separated. I'm sorry. Anyhow, I don't see any more screws in this thing. It looks like pretty much the rest is going to wind up being clips. Great, not didn't shut out of the way, so it's going to be really hard for me to get out. That's alright, that'll give it a little bit of room. These little putty knives work pretty good for this. They got kind of a bend for kind of getting up underneath things. Now, if you're going to use paint or you're worried about scraping it, put a little tape around it. I got so-called professional tools for some of this, and they don't always work as any better than that. This one here is pretty handy. If you can find one of those, pick it up. They're not that expensive. This was really cheap, and I find it bends more than it works most of the time. And this is actually for taking these I don't know if you can see them, but there's some plastic clips.
Here's these plastic clips I was telling you about. Unfortunately, there's kind of a one-time use only usually. If you're real careful, you can get them out and get them put back in. But if you do it too many times, these things, you'll have to get some other clips to replace them with. And these are actually not that expensive if you can find them at like a parts store, but a lot of these you actually have to go to the dealer for, and if they even have them, they're actually kind of expensive. When I did upholstery work, I had to go to the dealer quite a bit so I could replace them with original ones, and they were surprisingly expensive pieces of plastic. At least they were back then. That was 10 years ago, but which means they're probably even more expensive now. But they're just in that corner there, and that corner right here behind the hand grip are those. And basically I'm going to use my little red handle tool. It seems to work about the best for most of these things because you can kind of get it up underneath there. I'm doing it one-handed, which you can get it up underneath there and just kind of do a little bit of prying and basically try and get the tool, if you can, behind the whole thing. But this one's actually pretty small, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So I may have to, now that I got it kind of pried out, I'm not showing you, now that I got it kind of pried out, I may have to grab my other tool. But see, it is kind of scraping this up because I need to pay more attention rather than filming. So I'm going to actually grab my other, I'll show you, this one here, and see if I can get up underneath there. Because see, this one does get underneath them a little better, and then you pry them out. But like I said, this one tends to bend more than pop them out. But anyhow, I will show you one. Alright, so I got this up in behind there. Basically, you just kind of pull on it, and hopefully it comes out. The thing took blood off from my finger here, even trying to get that stupid thing off. But there it is. That's one long clip. That's what they look like when they're out. And as you can see, that was one of the worst ones I've ever tried to take out. It's probably because I'm filming this. Anyhow, I'll try and reuse that. I actually have some from when I did upholstery that are tan from a Ford Explorer I did, which look like they might work. So if I can find those, I'll probably use them. I got those stinking clips. Band-aid later. I can't. Yeah, it looks like it. This, in fact, this is coming off of here. I don't know why. I don't think it needs to come off. But there are some kind of a divot right here and up here. I'm assuming that there is some sort of a place to stick a screwdriver and pry a little bit, but you want to be real careful because these are not cheap panels even out of the wrecking yard. Yep. It's you actually stick a screwdriver of all things. That's a handy tool. In those, and there's like a little clip. I'll show you here. You push on it and pry down on it. And it lets it loose. Seems to anyway. And I may have to open this door a little bit here to let that loose a little bit here. I don't know if you can see that. Right here there's a little finger. I just kind of pushed on it, and there must be something up in here that kind of holds it up in there. Yeah, there's a little hole there and some clips here and here, right next to that. So anyhow, we're going to go around that. Took off the top part here. In fact, this whole top part is a separate piece. It looks like that bottom part is actually not. So I'm just going to kind of pull carefully, but that's it. There's just a bunch of clips after that. So it is just those screws that I told you about in the beginning. I don't know if you can see this. There's one of these fingers here, a finger here, clip here, and clip here. So you're going to kind of go in and push on this finger, kind of pry down, and then there's, pry a little bit, and right about, I don't know, 3 inches, 4 inches away from that. And the rest of it just pops off.
There must be a bunch of clips and things. Yeah, there's just a bunch of metal clips on the back of this that just kind of hold on. Alright, I have checked this pretty thoroughly. I went in and kind of felt, you know, I feel around the edges of carpet. Sometimes they'll stick screws into the carpet and kind of hide screws that way, but this doesn't appear to have this. This appears that this whole bottom piece is just clips, and this is where I am going to kind of use my handy dandy putty knife thing here and just kind of go up underneath here. Now, yet again, I'm not worried about this paint. It's in okay shape, I guess, inside here, but I'm not too worried about it. I just need to get this done. If I was working on your car, I'd make sure I use some tape or something behind it. But it does appear, anyway, to be just clips. So we're going to go in and just kind of jam this down in there and pry up. And things are not, you know what? Okay. That's a long way down there. I'm going to actually use my red one here because it's quite a ways down there. I think, well, unlike I told you, I wasn't careful. I think maybe this whole thing slides up. Yep. Oh, bummer. Alright, well, there's a lesson learned right there. Take the bottom, pull up on it, because what it is, these clips have little horseshoe things. Here, I'll show you on one of these. Basically, well, my stupidity is your dumb luck. It kind of is like, this is the clip here, and the door has something like this, so when you pull up on the door, it pulls off the clip. And unfortunately, I just broke the one up here. Maybe some super glue later and we'll be okay. But basically, you just pull straight up on this door here. I'm gonna have to get in. Hopefully you can see. But yep, pull straight up on it. Just grab on the bottom and go like that with it. And I don't know if you can see that. Here's the one I broke. This is what it's supposed to look like right here instead of this. And then also there's Velcro. I thought I heard some Velcro when I was doing this, but it's got supposed to be a horseshoe one here. There's one here, one down here, and then one over here on the back side. And then it appears to be that all the rest of these are just Velcro. They're right here and here. I don't know. Somehow these little Velcro things clip in here too, it looks like, but at least the Velcro came off. Anyhow, live and learn. Luckily I'm not on a client's car. I'd be buying him a new bottom panel for his rig. Off camera, I went ahead and put a couple screws in here because I kept opening and closing this door like it was there, and it was starting to scare me because there's only a couple little brackets up here with some screws in it that hold this window in, so it shook a lot. So I would suggest putting a couple screws in there. Use your hand screwdriver. Don't use your screw gun when you're putting things in. It'll strip things, break things, and this is plastic. It will snap no problem with one of those screw guns. Fine for taking screws out, but when you're working with plastic, use your regular screwdriver to put them in. There's my speech for the day. Alright, well, now we're just going to peel this off. Now, don't peel this. And yet another thing drove me nuts. Don't peel this off and just throw it away. There's a reason they put this here. Moisture barrier, probably some sound barrier, but mostly for moisture. This will actually keep your bottom of your door from rusting out, or could anyways, keep the bottom of your door from rusting out. Keeps the elements from coming in that do get into the door. These are important. The plastic on there is important. You want to put that stuff back because it actually does protect your car. There's a reason they put it there. There was a bunch of guys that got paid a lot of money to say this needs to be here. So even if you you know, have to duct tape it back on, use some sort of tape to tape it back on. This looks like it was kind of a glued on sticky back stuff. I've used double-sided tape, I've used duct tape, I've used masking tape. You know, it doesn't have to be completely sealed because once you put the door on, it holds most of it on, but you want to do a pretty good job of putting it back on. Yet another speech I gave to you. Put these back on. So I'm going to carefully peel this off, and then parts of it are going to come off, and it's not going to stick as good as it did before. You can use, what I'll probably use on this, I got a little bit of spray glue, and you can use a little bit of spray glue just in spots and stick it back up on there, and it'll stay there and it'll look like it was professionally done. That's normally what you want to use, is some sort of spray glue or double-sided sticky tape type stuff. Anyhow, so I'm going to peel this off and spare you that, even though I didn't spare you money. Alright, now I can tell you for sure somebody actually has been in this door. Surprises me. This was well put back together for the most part. The reason I know there was somebody inside this door, and hopefully you can see this, put this back a little bit here, is because they took the barrier right here that was stuck on with some sort of, looks like butyl. That's another thing you can use to put these plastic pieces on. That's a lot of them were held on. If you go to a, pointing at it, window, that's a good word to forget. Like a window installer and stuff, they have butyl. You can go to probably about any automotive store, you can ask for butyl. It's just a really sticky kind of tar-like tape. Anyway, that's how I know this was actually not put back, or it has been dug into, is because there's supposed to be this piece right here that's all stuffed down in here, should be up here. And somebody's pulled this apart, did something, and just left it stuck down in there. Now I got a big mess to deal with because it's all really stuck in there. But anyhow, now this, I'm just gonna leave it there. It's stuck across the bottom. It's out of my way enough, so when I go to put this back on, it'll be easy just to put it back up on there, and this will be stuck like it should be. So that pretty much. Well, some of you may be already laughing and knowing what my surprises was going to be here. There's this striker latch here, and it goes right into a big old hole of nothing. And I looked around and was trying to figure out what in the world, until I followed the mechanism back, and there's actually a latch back here on the back of the door. So it's got some T30 bolts on it here, Torx bolt. So you're going to need to get one of those if you're taking this out. And I do believe I'm taking this out and going to take a look at it, because I just closed it by hand and it was a bear trying to get this thing to open. And it seems like the latches are trying to work, but the handles are trying to work, but this latch here is not. So I'm going to take a closer look, see if I can lube it up maybe, or something like that. But anyhow, that surprised me. There's actually another latch back here. I don't know if you can see that, and that's actually where it hooks onto. So, never done this before. The latch is in the back of the door. And I'm going to go ahead and take that out and put you up on the tripod and give you a look. Alright, it was kind of too tight, so I'm going to kind of give you try and explain it to you kind of how things were inside the door here. This actually goes like this on that door. And it's got these little white clips here, there, and another one, another one bites the dust. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. Alright, right there. And basically, we're going to pretend that this piece of wire here, hopefully you can see it, is kind of like the piece of rod that's in the door. You had a rod going into this one here,
into this one here, and this one up here. Pay attention to which one goes where. That's up to you. Like I said, it was too hard to film inside the door there. Not enough light. You couldn't see anything anyway. But these rods just popped out. I actually took a little screwdriver, well, my big screwdriver actually, and just kind of put my screwdriver right here and kind of popped them out. A lot of times you'll see these type of things here, and this kind of a deal. I don't know if you probably might be able to see it better if I put it here. But anyhow, and the rod will go in here and then clip on like that, and then you have to push this down and then pull the rod out. Hopefully you could understand that, and if you've been inside of a door, you know what I'm talking about. But this one didn't. This one, you just pop the rod right out of the holes here, and it was pretty easy actually. Unscrew with the T30 Torx 30 drive there, and it pulls right out of the door. It was actually more easy than I thought it would be, but it is pretty caked up and gunked up, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. I'm going to use some Super Clean, I think it's called, stuff. I'll show it to you. Super Clean and water mix here. A little bit of Super Clean goes a long way. It's the same thing I used in my video for changing tires. Go check that video out. Shameless plug. Alright, and not a whole lot works better than just a good old toothbrush to start going at it with the dollar store toothbrush here. I'm just going to spray this down really good. Well, even I have barely any of that stuff in here with quite a bit of water, and it still is pretty potent. I want to be in a decently ventilated place for this. I'm kind of not, so do as I say, not as I do. And I'm going to let that sit for a while, soak in, probably spray it 2 or 3 more times, and hit it with the toothbrush. And hopefully you don't want to watch that, because I'm not going to show it to you. Alright, I got her pretty well cleaned up. It's not perfect, but it seems to be, as long as I take the child lock off, seems to be coming in and out quite a bit easier than it was before. Child lock on, keep pushing the child lock on. Anyhow, but now that we took all the lube and grease and oil and gunk that was in there out, we need to replace it. And I got some of this chain lube, some of this 3-in-1. This 3-in-1 will get down. It's got like a neat, I use this for quite a bit of things on my bikes and things. But I'm just going to go down in here and lube up everything down in here that I can possibly get to. I'm kind of running out of this stuff though, so. But I'm going to go through and do that, and then at the end I'm going to go ahead and take some of this gunk, chain and lube, farm equipment spray. It seems to work pretty good. I ended up using this little pick here. I don't even know what it is, a little skewer thing. Toothbrush, most of it was done with the toothbrush, and some of the smaller places hard to get into. I did use this pipe cleaner that came with like one of my paint guns. Anyhow, did an okay job, and I'm going to go ahead and lube it up, stick it back in. Hopefully that'll solve my problems. Finger test, see what happens. Look at that. Alright, now I just got to button it up. Well, let's check it from the inside. Fell. I'm going to have to mess with the inside. Got the outside working, but the inside's more important if you need to get out. Alright, that was not a fail. Stupid child lock keeps getting on me. Keep accidentally hitting that child lock.
now I just need to do the reverse on the inside, button it all back up. It's all hooked up, it's all working. But you'll need to keep an eye out for another video. I was hoping this would fix my problem I'm having. The door lock, the electric door lock, is not working on this door. By hand you can lock it, that works fine, so it's not the mechanism. I'm thinking either the solenoid or the electric part of it is bad, or there's something not connected quite right to the electric part of the door lock, because if you do it by hand it locks just fine. So keep an eye out for that video. Therefore I'm not putting this back together quite yet until I get that fixed. But if you don't like it when people say just do the reverse of what they did, I would like to know if that's something you'd like to see me do, is put things back together. I tend to try and leave out the unscrewing and screwing of things, putting back together what I pulled apart, because it really, if you can't figure it out once you pulled it apart, to put it back together you probably shouldn't be doing it, but that's my opinion. And opinions are like butts, everybody's got one. And they all stink. But anyhow, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master of none. Y'all have a good one.